Unless you deny yourself the pleasure of sin, you will not go to heaven. If a person wants to go to heaven, they will have to deny themselves the pleasure of sin to go to heaven. If you want to go to heaven, you will have to deny yourself the pleasure of sin to go to heaven. You who are denying yourself the pleasure of sin and living according to the nature of Christ and His righteousness, you are on your way to heaven. But you who enjoy the pleasure of sin, so you prepare yourself for the lake of fire. Now, do you deny yourself the pleasure of sin or do you not? Church, there is pleasure in sin and there is pleasure in righteousness. They are just two different kinds of pleasures. One of the flesh and one of the spirit. And so a person chooses which pleasure to live by. Who are those in hell? Those who loved the pleasure of sin, of getting drunk, of fornicating, of loving worldliness, of stealing, of lying. The pleasure of such things brought enjoyment to their bodies, and now their bodies suffer the horrors of hell as a result. So please see, sin brings pleasure. And the price of enjoying that pleasure is your body being burned by fire for billions of years. For billions of years that will never end. At some point, you will have to deny yourself the pleasure of sin if you want to go to heaven. You will have to deny yourself the pleasure of sin. Whatever sins you find enjoyable, you will have to refuse. Otherwise, you will go to the place of weeping. You will go to the place of the gnashing of teeth. You will go to the place of the worm. You will go to the place of fire. Hebrews 11:24-25 says, by faith Moses, when he became of age, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the passing pleasures of sin, esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he looked to the reward. So church, be like Moses. Do not indulge in the passing pleasures of sin. Rather, look to the reward. Look to the reward. Is getting drunk that great? It's worth burning for 1 billion years without end for it. Is fornicating that great that it's worth burning for 1 billion years without end for it? Is lying and stealing and worldliness and loving money that great that it's worth your whole body being burned in fire forevermore? The consequence of the pleasure that comes from sin. So, deny yourself that pleasure and choose the pleasure of righteousness. Choose the pleasure of righteousness that leads to everlasting life. Choose the pleasure that is according to God's own life. The pleasure that is the fruit of the Spirit. The pleasure that is love, joy, peace, and goodness. The pleasure that is righteousness. Christian, don't be deceived. Unless you deny yourself the pleasure of sin, you will not go to heaven. So make sure you choose the right pleasure. Choose the pleasure of righteousness. Choose life that is everlasting. Choose the pleasure of righteousness.